Welcome back, guys. This is episode 2 of Stacking Solo, the silver and bullion stacking, but more conversational YouTube channel. I'm your host, Justin. I'm very glad to have everybody back and appreciative to anybody that happened to watch episode 1 and came back to either learn more or maybe correct me on something or share some knowledge of your own. Very excited to get back into this and start episode 2. I figured the best thing to do would be, since this is still new, maybe say a little more about me. As I believe I said in the first podcast or first episode, I've only been stacking for about 2 to 3 years, so I'm not really heavy into it. Uh, there's a lot of gaps in my knowledge, and obviously I have very little experience. A lot of experience as a collector, as a buyer, very little as a seller. Um, the reason for that being, the main reason I got into silver not only was because my transition to it, but the reason I'm interested into it is more the investment aspect of it. I believe it's a safe way to have a tangible and just a tangible asset, honestly. So in today's age, it's so common to have money in bank accounts or in savings accounts or even digital currency of any kinds. Stock market, everything now is digital. There's no actual paper form of anything, unfortunately. So yeah, I just figured, you know what, spend a little bit of my money because I I do have a family of my own. I make very little money because I live in Central West Virginia, but when I can and where I can, I try to divvy it out and spend it on silver and coins and whatever else may pique my interest, which is quite a large thing. But this show's about silver, so yeah, that's kind of why I got into it and what keeps me into it. Um, and yeah, so this episode we can just get right into it. This episode's going to be about generic silver. I brought up generic silver yesterday, or on the first podcast, whenever that was. And I started thinking whenever I was rewatching it, or whenever I was talking to my wife about it, she said that she learned a lot, but a lot of people don't know what these terms are and really what to look for and what certain things may mean. So I figure start with the basics, and kind of say what I know about it. And if anybody out there may know a little bit more, you should let me know in the comments. Kind of let everybody else know. If I say something wrong, I do apologize. As I said, I'm fairly new to it, mostly a collector, and I know some of the information about the pieces that I own, but that's usually about as far as it goes for me. The pieces that I have interest in, and other than that, I'm not a coin or a bullion guru on the entirety of everything that's offered and what comes out and the newest things. But yeah, so generic silver. What is generic silver? The best way that I can put it is it's anything that is made or minted or cast by a independent or private mint. So basically anybody that is anything that's not backed by a government or anything that is not minted by a government. And obviously every government around the world has their own silver coins that they mint, their own specialties, and that'll be a podcast we get into. But some examples that we can go into or just run through in terms of the non-generic would be American Silver Eagles, the Australian Kookaburras, pandas, there's really so many that you can get into. The amount of, well, I said it the other day, there's 30 to 50 countries that the queen is on. So there's a lot, and a lot of that aren't generic, but the generic rounds come in a lot of different forms, a lot of different qualities, and honestly, a lot of different price ranges depending on what you get into. But today I'm going to start with pretty much the basics, and that's because it's how I got into silver. And if anybody isn't into collecting or isn't into stacking yet, it's a good way to kind of build up your collection. because the price ranges are fairly eco-friendly to the beginning collectors or to the people that may not have the largest budget. And this is just a side note, but the reason why I chose silver and not gold, I have nothing against gold. Silver is just so much more utilizable to me in terms of what it offers and what it can be used for, but also it's cheaper, as I just said. So for me, it was the easier way to kind of build a bank of tangible assets. So yeah, uh, how do I'll go through pricing and kind of what affects it and everything here whenever we get into the pieces. I'll put on my gloves and we can do that now. All right, everybody. So in front of us here, we have got ourselves some variety, different forms of what can be classified as generic silver. So we can just start with one of my favorite rounds. I just threw it in there because it's a cool design. I figured if I'm going to show it at any point, it'd probably be this one because it is still technically a generic round. So this is minted from the Scottsdale Mint, as it says. Very, very, very great mint. Both their gold, silver, all their products are really high class, really sought after, both on the retail and resale market. I bought this one just because I like the design, and whenever I first started buying silver, it was more about buying so many different designs. I just wanted to be able to display a bunch of different ones whenever I would end up buying a house. And so I got this one and kept it in its capsule. So really, no reason for gloves. No reason for gloves on any of these. Just as a disclaimer, it is none of these are worth anything, and the ones that are already protected. So yeah, Scottsdale Mint. I want to say what the retail of this is, or what the value, not retail, but what the value of it is now. But I was actually looking at my chart where I have all my stuff listed, and I have not checked since the spot price. Spot value of silver was at $30, and currently it is sitting at 36.30 something. So yeah, very interesting and just a very cool piece. But the reason why it's considered generic is because it's just by a mint. So where you get any extra value beyond what generic brings is what they call premium value, and that is the value added by the design, by the numbers minted, by the quality of the coin itself, by the quality of silver. And by quality of silver, I mean, well, just the way that the mint, sometimes there's flaws. Sometimes you can get 3 9s, sometimes you can get 4. And if you look right here, this one is actually 4 9s fine silver. Um, uh, so yeah, looking really cool and sick design, but generic. So realistically, if I was gonna put a value on this, you know, generic silver, you usually want to go anywhere between $1 and $4, depending on the design. Sometimes $5, unless there's that premium stuff on there, that premium value added. So with this one, I would say it could probably be worth 45. If I continue dropping it, less. um, so on to the next, we can just run straight. You know what? We'll mix it up a little bit. So this one's fun. This one I bowled out. This was another first one that I bought. This was an older one, obviously. There's no year minted on it, but you can just tell from the wear and tear, from the patina of it, from kind of the toning, the color of this side. But it's definitely got some age to it. I don't at this current point know anything on it. I probably did when I bought it, probably looked it up, but it's been so long and I don't know. So with it being generic piece of silver and it being aged, me personally, I bet the value for this is probably only $1 over, or you could get it for probably spot at some stores just because the condition that it's in. So you don't really want to pay too much whenever you're going to generic, but there is a value difference between what you're going to. So between these one, they're both generic. You can kind of see within the quality that there's a big difference in quality, and within the quality, big difference in price. We can just kind of shift over to a bar. So this bar right here is known as the Unity bar. I brought this out because this one just happened to be close by in terms of one of my boxes, and uh, they're really sought after. They're really great bars. They also make Unity rounds, which I'm sure I'll show at some point. But same design, just put into a 1 ounce round, and very beautiful. This one I've had very long time. You know, in terms of me having it, it's only a couple years. Uh, but I've got no sort of toning. I got no milking on it, so you can definitely tell that. Which right there is the make. That whoever that logo is right there is the make of this one. But they did a very good job. No flaws in their mint process. It's just very nice bar, beautiful. So with this bar and it being a bar, you could probably expect to pay $3 to $4 over spot. Um, yeah, I would say $3 to $4 would probably be safe. Wouldn't feel robbed at all. I wouldn't myself, anyways. So we can just move in right on over here. We'll just go over to the right. So we have the another piece of generic silver. So you'll see these all over. It's really big. The zodiac signs, just because you can mint years, you can mint a ton of different coins based on the year, what animal that year is. I have a bunch of them. The reason I have this one, it's Year of the Rabbit, which is 2023. Um, and well, actually, on this coin, you see on the reverse side that it actually has the entire year, the calendar year, and it goes up to I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. It looks like 2030 is about the top year, so we've about reached the max of this coin right here. But beautiful coin, and it's nice. I like the design a lot. Now that I look at it, I think I remember purchasing it. Very nice coin, but it's generic. I don't know who it was made by. It's just a Year of the Rabbit. Really, the only thing that may add value to this coin would be if somebody likes the design and they're willing to pay a little more for the design. But me personally, I'm looking at it and it's just a regular. I would pay right at spot probably for this, maybe $1 more, just because it's got a little milking, wear and tear. Generic and a different design just to show the variety that they can all kind of come in. Now, I do want to give a little disclaimer that the reason why some of these may have something on them in terms of these coins that I'm showing, or these 1 ounce rounds that I'm showing, I do have them in a tube, and the tubes that you get from mints are in 20. So I just have these stacked in random tubes. So they are kind of beat up with other random coins probably, but it's because I know I have them separated as being the generic silver. So it's easier for me to identify if I want to pull from some or show anybody or just look at them myself. So we've done all these, and we can go ahead and move up here to the center. These right here, and I've actually got two underneath. So these are really good examples of generic silver, and you'll find them from everybody. These are the specific rounds that are made by these minting companies. So this is an acai round, and they also have the acai bars and the exact same. This is kind of their logo embedded into the back or designed into the back. And this one right here is your RMC bar, which is your Republic Metals Corporation or round. Also, same thing, they have bars, but it's because it's their generic round that these mints make, that these refineries make. They're really nice. You get tubes of them. You look at them. These are really great to stack because they hold their value. They're trusted companies. People know that the quality is there, and with them technically being generic, then you can kind of get your money's worth by stacking heavy. And if well, in my opinion, stacking's all about getting weight. Collecting's about getting the pieces. So if you're into stacking and you're looking for it, generic pieces like these are usually are usually a good route to go, at least to start out with. And then these right here, I would say same thing. These definitely hold less value than these, and less value than the bars, just because bars, at least in what I've seen, obviously I don't know, I'm not somebody that sells, but at least in what I've seen and what I've purchased and what I've talked to people about, bars go for more. Usually about it just they go for a little bit more, so you can usually get more for a bar. So for these, I'd usually say $1 or $2 less. So you could probably get $2 to $3 over spot for these. So right now, um, spot's 36. You could probably get them for 38. Some places, though, I also know there are some places that you can overpay. I never suggest anybody to buy any silver from Walmart because you more than likely will overpay. Uh, it's just not worth it. Unfortunately, Walmart, though I find it very convenient and I like that they got into silver. There's a reason they got into silver and bullion, and it's because they know they can make money on it if they get uneducated people to buy from it. And by uneducated, I just mean uneducated on the subject. And I was definitely a part of that crowd for a long time because I was looking at it when I first got into silver, and luckily I never took that bait, and now I learned better. So hopefully I can educate some other people, and you guys also know better. So yeah, generic silver. This has been really fun. I know I've ran through it fast, and well, it's kind of a quick show. If there's any questions, leave it in the comments. I'll go slower as I kind of do this more and more. But I believe that you're getting kind of the gist of most of it. So we'll move right on up to these bars. And I say these because there are two, but I'm just going to show off one. So this generic Nadir, this is a Nadir bar, similar to the RMC, similar to the Osai. It's like Geiger. It's like any general mint. It's not backed by a company, so it's just a private mint. Very nice. A lot of people like to collect these. These are nice because they're obviously carded or they're in their uh, assays. An assay is basically just a case that protects it and shows that like it is what it is. You can see that this one has its barcode on it and everything. But the nice thing about these are that each one of them actually has their own serial code minted on them. So the serial code, by that, what I mean, well, you know what a serial code is, but it's just nice to know what your actual number is for the bar that you have because you can track them. And it's really smart of them to do it from a marketing perspective because they've gotten people to want to collect consecutive numbers. So if you can get, I got 16, 14, 32. If I can get 33, 34, 35, or if I can get all of the 30s, um, not that it actually adds value to anything, but if you were to sell it as a lot, you may be able to talk your seller or your buyer into adding a little bit more because you have 10 bars that were minted consecutively in an entire in an entire mint or entire refinery, whichever it is. It's just it just adds to it because the rarity basically. But a lot of people enjoy these, and then you can look and right here, this right here, I just threw this out here because it's actually only 10 behind this first one, 16, 14, 42, and I got 16, 14, 32, and this was in A. So kind of cool to think about. They're nice bars. They look nice. I mean, you can't really deny that. Um, Great collector's value. Very, very similar to these, except they actually can hold somewhat more. I usually have been able to get them for regular prices. So, or for regular generic prices, $3 over spot. But it's only because I've gotten lucky. I've seen a lot of people pay about $5 over, but usually it's about $1 more than this, or about an average, the same as these bars. So it's really up to where you're purchasing from, who the what the seller wants to do, and if you're buying anything else and they're willing to give you a deal. Um, But yeah, very very nice. I highly recommend those. Cool to stack, easy to stack because of how thin they are, and then whenever you get a lot of them, you're like, man, this is nice. Yeah. So on to our last generic silver that we have here. I talked about them the other day. So these are the buffalo rounds. This is the buffalo round. This is what the buffalo round looks like. So and then right there's your buffalo, obviously. Nice, pretty buffalo. Obviously, this one's got a little bit of patining to it, a little bit of aging to it, but very, very nice. So there's actually a reason why I have brought out so many of these, and it's just to kind of show an example um, of exactly the variations that you can get when purchasing them and why it is considered generic. Um, so we can just go around, but you honestly, everybody can, anybody's looking, you can see every single one of these are different in some way. Every single one of these are an ounce of silver. Every single one of these are the same design, but they're minted from different companies at different times and with different processes. And because of that, you get the different finishes, you get the different details, you get the patining, the aging. The this one right here looks dirty, whereas this one right here looks like it's just it's just sorry, I just had a little bit of a blank. Um, Whereas this one right here looks like it's actually just the way it was minted, and it's a little matte. But just very interesting to see. So I'll throw it up on screen right now. This right here, just so everybody can know, the Buffalo rounds were minted at from this coin right here is early 1900s nickel. The Buffalo nickel, obviously. A lot of people probably have those. They used to be pretty collectible. I tried to find some. I thought that I had one of myself, and I do apologize, but because nickels never had any silver, I realized I never found value in collecting them. So, moving on from them, or moving on from the nickels themselves, this has become a very popular round, as everybody can see. If you actually look right here on this one, just because I just saw it, this logo right here, I do believe is the Acai logo, and or close to. Nope, it is. So Acai. This is actually the Acai version of the Buffalo Round. So you can see how theirs obviously is a nice quality because even with it being in the tube, even with it being with others, it hasn't started milking too bad. It hasn't done anything too bad. So let's just turn the reverse over just so everybody can see the other side, and we can also see maybe if one side aged more than others, or if one side's just maybe had a little more influence than others, or what the designs difference are. So this right here is really where you can see the design difference because the biggest thing always to look for is fonts. Fonts give everything away immediately, and I don't see one that's honestly the same. And as somebody that does marketing, I would notice to an extent from the edges. So that's it's very interesting. This one right here sticks out the most just because it is designed so much like the actual nickel. It's got your year 2011 on it, and then just 1 ounce fine silver. That's very nice. E pluribus unum and United States of America. So yeah, that one is that's a good. Whoever minted that did a very good job. That is a good example and copy of it. This one right here is very matte. I have a couple like this. Whenever I first got these, I was worried. Just because everybody had told me you got to be careful with some silver, but everything I've had has tested okay, or at least the pieces I have. So I'm trustful, or I'm hopeful that this is real, and I do believe so, just based on the sound, weight, and everything of it. And it's uh, non-magnetic, so that's a big thing for a lot of the fake silver that you end up getting. It's very easy to tell because it also ends up being plated and stuff. This right here is 99.9% sure it's real. But it's a unique design, just the way that it is, the way that it's done. 0.99 fine silver. Whoever this star is, if anybody can see that, there's a star right under there. That's probably the mint. So if you're able to identify those, which I mean, we technically could if we wanted to. I do have. Oh, let's see if we can get this in there. If anybody can identify that, I'll look it up and maybe we can find that out. But we definitely, you can always look and you can identify all of them. And it's cool just to learn because sometimes you can find your favorites or sometimes you can find these mints that make specific pieces that you end up enjoying. I'll be able to go over one of those whenever we just go over different mints and spend a couple episodes on that. There's a company up in New York that has a couple really cool smaller fractional pieces that are just very interesting. So that'll be fun to go over when we get to that point. Back to the fractional though. Overall, the point is that it comes in many forms. It comes from many companies and obviously kind of in many designs, even within the same design shown. But it's still generic silver. It's still minted by everybody. It's still not really worth anything, worth a whole lot compared to a lot of your premium pieces or your government backed silver. Just as a tip for anybody, if you're going to take it or you're wondering yourself, these right here, I would not pay more than $1 over spot for, only because they're so common that you can buy them fist over hand at certain places. Now, right now with silver being up, I have to say I haven't really focused on buying any smaller pieces, and I haven't really got many pieces in the recent months. But I would still hold to that I wouldn't pay you $1 over spot because they're just too common, and the reason why people collect them is just to stack the weight. It's good for beginners or it's good for people that are veteran collectors and just looking to add on to their collection to any capacity. So yeah, very cool. We've got a few more generic silver. We'll get into it with the fractional pieces, but I suppose we could show it. I have these just in this little baggie just to keep it kind of together. Fun fact, another reason why I like silver, and I constantly tell people this, hopefully the sound does okay. I don't know if it will in the bag. But this silver right here, all of it is generic because it's just minted by random companies. The best company is probably this right here, this little Geiger. Um, the sound of silver clanking together is just unmatched in my opinion. Um, there's just something so nice about it. And so whenever I first got, a whole bunch of fractionals together, like a good bit, I just started clanking in my hands, and I understood what pirate fever was, and I understood, just getting the urge to forget about your family and kind of go towards the sea. Just take to the ships and try to rob people and steal this, because my goodness, 600 years ago, when you didn't really have nothing, and your lifespan was 20 years, 30 years. Yeah, this was worth chasing, I'm telling you. Um, but now, not so much. Now it's just something good to play with, good to collect, or good to invest in. Either or. But generic silver, like I said, comes in many forms. 1 grams, you got your quarter, or you got your eighth ounces, your 10th ounces, you got your quarter ounces. This is a 10 gram. So this is considered cast, which we'll go over at some point, but it's just the way that it was minted, and it was basically just melted. It wasn't really minted. There was no minting to it. It was melted and then it was stamped. But I wanted to bring this out to show you guys because generic silver is just cool. And one of my favorite things about Geiger, the company that I just showed you, and we'll do a bunch of episodes on them eventually. But as with the Nadir bars that I had showed you earlier, these are serialized, which you can see. These come in an assay of themselves, a nice plastic assay of all shapes and sizes. This is only a 5 gram one. Yeah, this is just a 5 gram, so this isn't nothing crazy. But what's great about it is that these, when you shine a black light on them, that's how you can prove. That's how they prove that these are the real ones. These are real Geigers because their logo always highlights, and so does the serial number. And that is just nice. My favorite thing is whenever coins hide special things, and I've got not a lot. I've got like 2 blacklight pieces that I'm excited to show everybody here in the way future, but in the future. But yeah, so here's just another example of generic silver. With the weight, obviously the price would vary with depending on who it was minted by, depending on the design. A lot of these single grams go for they in my opinion they go for too much, but they're really fun to collect. They're fun to give away. I gave some to all of my groomsmen at my wedding, including some other random silver. So like they're just fun. You can decorate with them. You got an I love you. I got a praying mantis. I don't know what that is, but I got it. That's a dinosaur, a velociraptor. There's your buffalo, and there's a pistol. So you can get pretty much whatever you want. Designs of all kinds. Teddy bear if you'd like. They do it all just because they know that that's a good way to market to people and really appeal to different collectors. Looking over everything, I do believe that that I've covered it all. Kind of zoom back out here and we can just look. The only other thing that I could really tell everybody, which I'll let you get a good look here, but whenever it comes to buying generic silver, there is a price range that you should stay within because you need to remember that it is generic. The biggest thing for me to look at is who's making the silver. Is it in some sort of protected case, like so? And what's the current condition in? What's the year that it was minted? There's a few different things that can go that add into the value, but usually at most coin stores and in most places, their prices are pretty on par just because it's very easy to find the current market price and keep it kind of adjusted. So yeah, we'll get a good look at that because we'll just get ready to close it out here. So that pretty much does it for at least everything that I can think of as we're talking about with generic silver. You're able to see a lot of the variations. Just remember price, condition, year, and who it is making it. Those are really the primary things to look for. But unless it's a piece you really, really like, if you're somebody that's stacking, don't pay over $2 to $4 on average for any piece of generic silver, especially if it's open. If you're collecting, I don't think it matters. I think if you enjoy the piece, if you like the piece, just go for it because the joy that silver or that a coin or that a bar or that any piece or shape can bring you, whether it be we can extend it to toys, we can extend it to football cars, to actual, we can extend it to any hobby you have, anything that brings you enjoyment. I don't think that as long as it's financially feasible, 'cause that's the whole point of doing this. It's a little extra way to feed a hobby, to grow a hobby, but to also have a little bit of money later down the road whenever you may need it. So make sure it's financially feasible. But if so, and if you're collecting, go for it because I'm telling you, a lot of pieces are cool, and we're in a really lucky age to where to where you can find pieces for just about anybody. It doesn't matter their age. It doesn't matter what they're into. They make everybody's into the coin stuff, which we'll see going forward. Show you on the future episodes for sure. But I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate you kind of watching that. Again, sorry it was a little rough, but moving forward, it'll continue to get better as we crank out more of these episodes. We can always be better, and I'll make sure that I try to do so. So yeah, when this episode, like I plan to do each, I want everybody to remember, stacking solo doesn't mean stacking alone. We'll see you later.